Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 266 at scavengerlife.com.
Okay, the headline for this podcast will be Trash Shelves. Are the conspiracy theorists right?
Right.
And I think that we have maybe made a discovery to bring us closer to the truth.
Yes.
Because the truth is out there. All right. I'm going to set the story up, and then I'll let Ryan kind of tell you what she discovered.
Okay.
The conspiracy theorist is this. You have to refresh your listings. It's possible for our listings to grow stale in that your listings get pushed down in search so no one can find them, and then you're not going to sell anything. So what they say is like every 30 days, you need to end everything and then sell those items as...
sell as similar.
Right. So not just it's refresh them 30 days. You have to actually end them and act like they're brand new.
Right.
To show up in search and to be fresh. All right. We haven't proven that.
Right.
But we've proven something else.
Yes.
That's kind of close, and we even have it in writing from eBay. And we're going to put this on the blog. And the way we found this out is eBay just announced or opened up for people that have anchor stores. Those are the highest anchor subscriptions.
Yeah.
If you sell a whole lot.
Store subscription.
Which we do. There's a dedicated a service line for people with anchor stores. So Ryan actually called, and we got information we'd never gotten it before. Go.
Okay, so I called initially just to talk about a negative feedback that I got. So that was the initial thing, and the woman was like,
and I mean, did it feel it's different, or it felt
the same to me, honestly. But the difference was she was like, we should talk about your stagnant listings. And I was kind of like...
And she volunteered that.
Yeah, she volunteered that. She's like, I'm looking at she said she was looking at a report, an eBay report, which I, as the customer, am not allowed to see, of stagnant listings, of listings that are, she said, older than 60 days, essentially getting pushed down in search. She's like this. We don't like it, obviously, if they're older than 60 days, but we, have a different philosophy on that. But she was like, you don't want to have pictures or HTML or JavaScript in your description, which is totally different from when we started.
Just tell us first, it's what they said they don't like, and then...
Right, we'll so they don't like that, and they don't like anything less than 3 photos, which I kind of knew, but we have a lot of listings that we listed before 12 photos were free.
Right.
So
the problem that we have is that in our main store we have these listings. Some of them, a lot of them are still from the old days.
And the old days weren't that long ago.
Right.
Honestly, I checked when we started using no HTML template in the description, and it was a year ago.
Right. And that's when eBay was starting to send out notices like, for mobile, don't use... HTML and it's your template. And so that's why we switched over. But the problem is, I don't remember ever being told if you have HTML or photos in your description, those listings will get pushed down. And that's basically what a woman was telling us.
She said that. She was like, your stuff is probably not being seen.
Right. And so she actually then sent an email right afterwards where she gave us... They send you this kind of like eBay Excel sheet of all the ones. And then also she gave us a bunch of text explaining when they push items down.
Right.
And we're going to post that on the blog so you can read it. And some of it is the same kind of ideas that what I used to call the conspiracy theorists used to say. And I'd always say, well, where's the proof? Like, how do we know that's true? And now we have it. And so, so for us, what our thing is more is trying to change over our old listings into a new style.
Right.
And that's you, Ryan.
Right. So the problem is this. We have 4,000 listings in our store. About 3,000 of them, I would say, have an HTML template.
Right.
Oh my God, that's a lot.
Because at the same time as us starting to list without a template, where just in the description, it's just a couple lines of text.
Right. Plain text.
We had also started our second eBay store.
Right.
And so our second eBay store has 1,000 items, and those are all the new, fresh. And so it kind of is amazing to me that we've been selling as much as we have in our original store.
Right.
With 2/3 of them being, HTML old and essentially being pushed down in search.
Now, not all of our listings had only one photo. Those are the truly legacy listings.
I mean, that was I think eBay in 2013.
Yeah, it was 13.
Started allowing you to upload more than one a photo.
But most of my listings do still have the template. So, right when she said that, I was like, oh, I have to go fix those. And everyone listening here knows what that means.
Right.
You're going in one by one. And you are changing them.
And this is all you. And that's all week. You spent all week. That's
all I did.
And you did 1,000 of them.
I did 1,000 listings.
And that's going
today.
Opening up a list. I mean, explain that.
Okay, so this is what I would do. So I go to active listings on my dashboard. I change the date to oldest listed, because that kind of helps me see which ones are the oldest. And then I go by category. I say, okay, women's jackets. I put it in a category because that's easier to sort once you've ended them all. So I'll go in one by one and click revise. And I go and I copy the text from the template, which is easy. And then I bring it into a text edit, which is just a plain text format. I reformat the text because it gets all jumbly and weird because of the HTML template. So I make it look good, all plain. I delete all the HTML and then just paste in the plain text, make sure it looks good.
Without any photos.
Without any photos or anything. I make sure that if it needs the extra photos, I go back into that folder, because I can see on the back end in the HTML what folder it's listed in. So I just go back and grab those. A lot of them I already have the 12 photos. So
and real quick, that's really credit to you from the beginning. You always did a good job keeping every single photo we've ever taken for eBay is on our server.
Yep. I have it on my server and I have it on a backup hard drive. And so I have the hard drive plugged in and I'm getting it directly from there. So then I save it. And then once I'm done with that whole category of anything that had the HTML, I end those listings, and then I do sell similar. So that basically, and she told me to do this, she's like, you should end those and sell similar, so that you're making, essentially, it's a whole new listing. It's a whole new item number. Now, there's controversy about that, because some people are like, oh, but you have all these watchers and whatever. But in theory, eBay does not like it when you have a ton of views and a ton of watchers and no offers and no sales.
Now, this is where the conspiracy theorists, maybe we still don't quite agree. She did not tell us that we needed to end them every 60 days.
Right.
She was just telling us to end them and sell
similar after you've taken off the template.
Right. So, but, I mean, I guess it can never hurt, but that's not exactly what she told us to do.
Now, the thing is, what I could do is I could just change the template and leave them as active and hope that eBay re-index them. But I feel like it's going to be a better bet just to do a full refresh of everything and just let it go from there.
So let's think about this. So it took you a week to do 1,000. If we have 3,000, so it's going to be another 2 weeks. Oh my God.
Well, okay. So what I'm going to have to do is so we did 1,000. And what I'll do is I guess I'll just start going and see how many I can get done. And maybe it's not 3,000 listings. Maybe it's 2,000 and I'll be done,
Well, in her template that she sent us, or the Excel sheet, it was 33.
Yeah, but the problem is she was showing everything that hadn't sold in 60 days.
Okay.
So a lot of those do have fresh, they've been up for the last. So
that's good to hear.
Yeah, so it might not be that much. Okay. But, I mean, when I open up things and see how old they are and see that they have a template. I'm like, Jesus, there's so many. It feels like so many.
I'll be interested to kind of see how much. So we had 4,000 items. How many of those items were the old template? I'd be interested to see.
Right.
I mean, that being said, I just want to make clear, we still sell those items and have been.
Yeah.
So it's not like we haven't sold any item that had a template at all.
We've sold several this week, even before I got to them.
So it's just, we've talked about it being quiet in our store, but it's also summertime. So, just like anything, like anyone that runs a business, you just do whatever it takes to keep competing. And so that's what we're doing. And it will feel good to have our store, to have both stores up to the same standard. Everything's 12 mobile. Photos.
Yep.
No, totally mobile already and mobile ready friendly. To rock.
Exactly. I mean, honestly, I will have to say that it felt good to do it. I know it sounds crazy because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this. But I was like, it actually makes me feel empowered. Like, okay, this is going to improve the quality of my listings for searching, for people to search it. And like you've done something to like, boost
now
listings.
So Ryan changed or updated or it refreshed 1,000 items. So we sold, I think, 4 of those old items that got re-indexed.
Yeah.
And now, is that a coincidence?
We don't know.
Ultimately, it doesn't really matter as long as they sold. And it's good. And here's the bottom line to me, 2 things. Number one, I'm a little frustrated that eBay never just told everybody. And again, maybe I missed it. And if I missed it, I'd love to see a link to the announcement that eBay made, where they said you cannot have HTML in your listings, or we're not going to show them in search. I wish that they had said that kind of a language.
But was it a hard and fast rule? Because people are still finding our ones with templates and buying them. It's not like they're deleted from the site.
Right. I just, I kind of wish that they had said that
more firmly.
I just kind of felt like it was kind of like, it's nice if you do it.
Right.
Which means to me, like, oh,
I don't really have to.
Like, it's not a big deal. The other thing is, I hope that we continue to get direct suggestions from eBay. Since we've been selling for so long, I really I like this. I like that we have this dedicated customer service, and I hope that they take the time to give us more direct tips like this. This is
I mean, she just mentioned it offhand, and it was like, if she hadn't have mentioned that, I would have been like, well, we talked about it. I was thinking of like exporting a bunch of listings using Turbo Lister and
putting them in another store.
And it's just like, this is actually, honestly, so much easier in a way where I'm like, okay, let's just leave it on the main store. We pay for the main store.
And the good thing is there are more and more people competing with eBay. They could really, make themselves stand out by helping sellers,
Seems so simple.
Yeah. I mean, I know that there's a lot of people who sell on eBay, but, I know for people that do it full time and sell a lot, they could, really make sure that they could really build up its loyalty.
I mean, it's so funny because she said that almost offhandedly. She was like, "Oh, if you don't have time to talk about it now, you could call back later." And I was like, "No,
let's talk about it."
I was like, we're going to talk about this right now. Right. And the second I got off the phone, I remember it was the 4th of July. Actually, I called on the 4th of July and they answered. And that's what I did all day. I was like, this is happening. My store is getting updated.
Updating.
You couldn't.
Revising.
I'm like a revised bot. I wake up in the morning and I have one thing to pack, and then I'm just revising. I'm like, coffee, revise, coffee, and then you get through a whole category and you're like, yes, I got through that category.
So I always love to when someone says something that sounds pretty important or dire, I'm always like, okay, well, what's the proof?
Right.
what are you basing this info on? So we will link to, or I will copy and paste the email that they sent us.
Yeah.
And basically it starts with this. Stagnant listings are listings that you have on the site with very little visibility. Here's an overview of what we spoke about. And then she numbers all the things she says to do.
Okay, so check it out though. I do wanna just like mention some of them.
Okay,
right?
go.
Because the funny thing is, some of my listings are old enough that item specifics for a lot of things weren't even there,
and they were old enough where there was a time when they only gave you a certain number of characters,
like 50
in the
characters,
title, and now it's 80.
Yeah, and so I have to change that stuff as I go. But okay. Number 1, title, use 80 characters. Great, we know that. That's very smart to do. Number 2, item specifics. As much item specifics as you can put in, the more, the better people can find your stuff. Images, use all 12 photos. 3+ will give your listings a boost in visibility. Number 4, description. Keep it simple, clear, and short. With the increase of mobile purchases, you want to avoid photos in the description. Also, please avoid using JavaScript, Flash plugins, and form actions. Now, I had accidentally opted into some third-party software with a map, and I didn't mean to do it. I thought it was a back-end thing.
Back in 2008.
No, it wasn't 2008. It was 2012. It was October 2012. So anything that still existed from there, little things, housewares, stuff like that, we didn't have a lot, had this crappy JavaScript bull.
I can remember that made me so mad.
It was because they didn't tell you it was going on your listings. I thought it was a back end map to see where people bought stuff, but it
and then when you wanted to opt out, there's no way to take it off.
It was horrible. Ugh. Okay, so we have that. Number 5, looking at your competitors' listings to figure out what they're doing differently that's allowing them to sell these types. Okay, pricing. That's the pricing thing. We recommend that you end your listings and relist using sell similar with the new information based on, what you are able to do. Relisting the item will allow the items to jump back to the top of search results. Basically, they say it right there. Although, it depends on how you search. If you search by price is lower, newest listed.
But, that's what people have said.
Best match is what they mean.
Cool. So that's what we've done this past week, kind of housekeeping. And if this has been really boring, then that's just, unfortunately, welcome to, is running an eBay store. This is like the unglamorous stuff that, we've had to do from time to time to keep up with things,
Yep, totally.
All right, just a bit of an update on our Amazon FBA. We've been selling some things. It's this week. What's interesting is that when we first started doing Amazon FBA, we let's do an experiment with retail arbitrage. Oh, so we went to Target.com and looked at their clearance and bought $400 worth of sheets and
pillow shams,
a bedding. And it's funny. It's it's free to ship. Yeah. So it comes to our house. It's already packed up. We put a label on it. We then send it to Amazon, and then other people buy it. It's
it's so weird.
It's just such a ridiculous thing. So we bought these maybe 3 months ago. Just now, that stuff is starting to sell because we weren't willing to lower our price so low.
So the lower price people sold out.
So now our stuff is starting to sell at the price we want.
But it's not much.
Ultimately, it just seems like not enough money for the amount of work.
Right. For
it's not even a lot of work. It's just not enough money.
It's not enough money for the amount of money. Yeah.
But, I don't know.
But honestly, it was I didn't repackage things, but I did have to retape some of the things because it came in little poly bags, but I had to retape them, and I had to go over their barcodes. So there was some preparation that I couldn't just throw them in a box and go. So it was kind of a pain.
If you could find a wholesale item and buy it at $5 and sell it for $9, an unlimited supply, and you could sell 12 a week or something.
12 a week? That doesn't. No.
Worth it to you?
do the Amazon fees. You wouldn't make a penny.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could buy something for $5, sell it for $50.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway,
But
yeah, it's just
$5,
$9. I think it's for us. Amazon feels right when it's just we're sending in stuff we just kind of scavenge, just like people told us.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
possible. Things at yard sales, books. We've actually been doing pretty good with books. I'm buying kind of stacks of books when we go out, and that seems to me how it feels. And it's waiting for us to be at an auction and there to be like a big pallet of like, it's new in box, like 1,000 of them.
Of
and
something.
I can buy it all for like $100 and then we send all that in. Like that's what I'm waiting for, you know?
Yeah, it might happen.
Yep. You know what? So this week I was taking pictures of shoes.
Yes.
I was processing shoes. I did like 120 pairs of women's shoes.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, you know, photographed them, write descriptions.
Yep.
And, you know.
Hopefully someday I'll be able to list those since I'm stuck revising.
But it was interesting. I did a box of Ferragamos.
Yeah.
They're like dress shoes. And the owner had written on the inside of the box each time she wore the pair of shoes.
Like the date?
Yep, the date.
What, did it have the year?
No, it didn't have the year.
Wow.
But, you know, I mean, she wore them maybe like 35 times or something. I just think that's so interesting. Like, it's so OCD that I love it.
Why would somebody do that?
You know?
So, I hope you photographed that and put it in the listing.
I didn't.
Oh.
I just thought.
That's
so.
I'm going to have to go dig out that box and take a photo of it.
And then something non-eBay, we have two things. Number one is, it's been a year since we've talked about this. So, we have this old car. We have this old Acura Integra.
96 Acura Integra.
It's almost at 300,000 miles. Like this year, we could hit 300,000.
We might be able to, but we don't drive it enough. But
so anyway, it's time for our yearly inspection, and it's always nerve-wracking for us, and we always have a bit of a fight about it because Because as we know, it's going to cost us a bit more because they're going to find some things wrong.
Yep, it happens every year.
And it's like, do we keep putting money into it?
Right.
Or do we just sell the car for what we can get for it? You know?
Right.
And the choices are, do we just drive it till it stops? You know, just drive it till it just blows up and then we just junk it.
Yeah.
Do we sell it while it's still a usable car?
Right.
I think we can get 1,000. Ryan thinks like 2,000. I think she's crazy. Number 3, do we just buy a used car? You know, like not a new car, but a used car.
A lightly used car.
Or do we just not have a car and we just have a vehicle and that's a truck that we have? And this happens every year. So we took it in for its inspection. They called us. They said it's going to cost you $400 because it needs a couple new tires. It needs like a
transmission mount,
headlight,
an alignment, and the oil change and the inspection.
And we just said, let's just do it.
Look, this is why. Because the week before we knew we had to bring it in the next week. We were like, we have to do this. So on our mind was, let's look at what kind of car would we want right now. Obviously, we want a Tesla, not affordable in the next few years.
I don't want the kind that they sell now.
No. I want like the $30,000 Tesla. But so we were like, well, let's look at hybrids. Like, let's look at a lightly used hybrid. And they're pretty pricey. You know, if you go to CarMax, they're $10,000 minimum. So that colored my experience when the guy called up and he's like, well, you need this. And I'm like, okay, how much? And he's like, $400. And I was like, okay, that's not bad. That's not $10,000. That's $400. My car's good for the next year, hopefully, cross my fingers. It feels good. It drives great. It's got great gas mileage. It's a huge hatchback.
We only bring it up because this is like a scavenger problem.
Yes.
You know, a scavenger like challenge.
Dilemma.
You know, like, is it worth it to keep putting money into something old, or do you pay a little more for something nice, or do you just not have it? And so, I think my answer is we're going to drive this thing till it blows up.
The problem is with an Acura, it's never going to blow up. It's just going to be the small little things that rust away.
I think we drive it until we get hit with a large enough problem that it costs too much.
Like, that's
where
too
it's
much.
like it's more than
exactly.
But if we're putting $400 a year, I mean that's not much in my opinion.
That's not bad.
Okay, the other thing I just wanted to talk about, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it much on this podcast because it's about eBay, but we do have a rental business that many of you know about. We bought a farmhouse with eBay profits. Right. It's been a renting. Now we're into our second year. This month we're going to gross $5,000 on that place.
Right. So it's the peak season. It's summer.
Which is huge. And this rental business only exists because eBay was able to help us pay for it. And now it's standing on its own.
Yep.
I mean, all that work, it finally pays off. And this year is why, it's been quiet for our store, just like every summer is.
Yeah.
And I don't have as much stress as I used to because we have this other source of income.
Right.
And, so we renovated that farmhouse with money from eBay. Now we're renovating the second rental we bought with profits from the first one.
Yep.
So, it's nice to see that work. And I guess I also bring that up is because instead of us buying, a new car, we'll just invest in another, income.
Yeah, sure. For now,
income generator.
I mean, that's what we said. We were like, look, if we get this second rental going, we have some extra money. Let's think about
maybe when it's a 60, we'll buy a nice car.
It's gonna take a while.
To be honest, I'm kind of just joking. I want to get a time when I don't have a car. Like
self-driving electric car fleet.
That's right. I want self-driving public electric car fleets where no one has to actually own a car.
Yep.
And you can just order a car with your phone, jump in, and go wherever you want, just pay per ride. That's
exactly.
Great.
That's what I want. Absolutely.
Please, robots. I'm ready to bow down to the robots.
Robot overlords.
Okay, let's quickly go over our numbers. It was a quiet week. We made about $1,000 overall.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not nothing.
Yeah,
people.
But I know some people. It's interesting. That's why I enjoy the blog. Some people say they do good. Some people slow, and it seems like it changes every week. And that's a story of the internet. So in store number 1, our main store, we sold $670 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
It's still Saturday, so we could still be selling some more today. We sold 21 items. The issue is we were selling a lot of kind of lower dollar items.
21 items and $600.
Our average was only about $30, so it was just a lot of like $12, $20. Our highest price was only $80, so that's one thing. On our Amazon store, we made about $170 after all the fees.
That's all right. Lots of little weird books.
Better than some weeks. And then on our second eBay store, we only sold 2 items for $160. So that's,
and one of those items was $130.
Yeah. So it's just one of those weeks. Okay, things we sold. Like Ryan just said, we sold a lot of vintage software for $130.
Yeah.
Now, this is stuff we got this year when we were at a yard sale. We had talked about this. The guy had bought out a whole storage and locker of stuff, and he had this whole pile of books and he
books and software.
And I was going through the books, and he just said, "You guys can have all this stuff. I don't want it."
He wanted it gone.
So I said yes. I filled up the back of the car, and some of it was a huge box of old software that I thought, okay, we'll just donate this stuff.
No, I know people buy old software, and I have been right. You know what I should do? I should add up all the vintage software we've sold since we listed it. And I should take that and buy myself something because you were just like, what are you talking about?
I hated every second I had to kind of sort it and arrange it and photograph it and write descriptions.
I sorted it.
Okay.
I said what would go
I still
where.
had to process it, but it sells. And, and we're talking vintage software floppy disks that people would have to install to get on a BBS board.
Yeah, or Microsoft Word from 1992.
Yeah.
It's like
very
what?
interesting. So it's great. Another thing we sold another smoking pipe stand.
Yes.
Those wooden stands where people put their smoking pipes.
Yeah.
We bought 17 of these at an auction for $20.
Yep.
And we sold just one for it's $50.
And I think we sold another one last week for like $60.
Right. So I love it.
We sold a vintage mailbox. This is literally just a steel mailbox with someone's name painted on the side, but it looked like it was from the 60s or 70s. And I guess I took an offer on this. It was $80. I had it up for probably $120 just because it looked so cool. Yep. Someone in California bought it for $80.
And then this is all at you again. We sold a Copeland Spode salt and pepper shaker for $45.
So it was a salt, it's like this little cup thing that you sprinkle salt, and then a shaker. So I said it was a salt, a little salt thing and a pepper shaker. And it sold for $45, and I'm glad to get it off my shelf.
That's for sure. I mean, those are things that I would never even know.
I just know Copeland Spode's a good brand.
It's all. Like those. It's little kind of like old-fashioned little things that we see.
Okay, so something else that sold, large atlas, huge. This thing is massive.
A book, yeah.
Yeah, it's a book. It's an atlas book. And the great thing is it's big and heavy, and you can send it media mail. And it sold for $40.
And we always do well with those. They're often from like the 50s or 60s. And it's just like, a big hardback book of just maps of the world and of different countries.
We have one from the late 30s that has the all the different flags of the country. In Germany is the Nazi flag.
Yeah.
You're like, oh wow, that's crazy.
But it's interesting. They don't sell fast, but they always eventually sell. We can normally buy them pretty cheap, and I'm not sure exactly what people buy them for. I mean, if they buy them because they cut the maps out, or if they put them on a coffee table. Or,
that's sure. Or something I think my mom told me about, where people buy them for the year. I would buy you one from the year you were born, just as like a little gift. Like the one we sold was from 1981.
Right.
Maybe it was for a gift for someone.
Maybe.
Something like that.
Okay, customer issues. Well, this is not an issue. It's kind of a good thing. This happens it's rarely. When we sell on eBay or even on Amazon, the sale happens, and that's really the end. There's really no talking.
Yeah, you never hear from them again, really.
These sites are not, made to create a relationship between the buyer and person who sells. But we sold, we talked about a couple of weeks ago, a rusty knife.
It was a dagger.
Right.
It was like an old, Middle Eastern dagger.
Like curved dagger.
Yeah, curved dagger thing. I recognized it from being from the Middle East or from India. So I was like, all right, that's something.
And, it was kind of like inlaid handle, but it was all rusty.
Well, it was rusty, and the sheath was rusty, and the knife was rusty, so you couldn't get the knife all the way into the sheath. So I was like, you know what? I think I put $80 on it. Someone gave me an offer of $50, and in his name had something to do with daggers. So, and he lived in Israel, so he's like a collector. Right. He's something.
We actually bought it at an auction where it was just like one of the things in the box.
Yeah, we didn't know it was.
So we were like, free money, cool.
$50.
Anyway, he wrote to us and he sent us photos how he cleaned it up.
Yeah,
and it looks gorgeous.
It looks amazing.
And then, of course, the first thing I think of is like, oh no, is this now worth like $1,000?
Yeah.
And we didn't know it. But I asked him, the kind of knife, and he gave us the specific name.
Yeah.
And he said, just do a Google search. I did. They don't sell much more than what we sold it for.
Right.
But, he says this is like from 1910.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, but
it made sense that he paid $50 for it, and he paid $50 to ship it, priority to Israel, and I just think he's a collector, so that's really cool.
And so actually on this week's podcast on the blog, we'll put its pictures.
Yeah, I can put the photos.
It's before and after.
Yeah.
All right, a bit of news. A listener reminded everyone, she's in Canada, that Canada Post is not on strike yet. So we had said that they're on strike and that packages may be slow. They're not on strike yet. They're still in its negotiation.
Yeah.
So everything's being shipped as a normal. But
yes.
I guess it could happen.
Okay, here's something we learned in the comments. Now, there's someone named Katie who left an amazing comment. I could not believe this. I didn't know that this was possible. You can order these little tracking numbers from USPS. They're tracking number labels.
Now, real quick, say it's what the problem is.
So the problem is this. People, sellers who sell things like postcards or photographs, and they want to mail it just in a regular envelope with a, 40-cent stamp or however much a forever stamp is, 50 cents. But the problem is, eBay's like, well, that doesn't count for anything because there's no tracking. And another problem is with your customers is someone could say, I never got this, and claim they never got it. But you can order these labels. They're little tracking labels that you can put on that envelope.
And they're free?
Yeah, they're free.
Oh.
I ordered a pack of them.
Wow.
I never ship anything that small, really, but I think that's what they're for. But I think people should check on that because I'm not sure if letters like that get scanned, but she said they did.
So we will put a link on the blog to how you can buy these, or not buy, but get these labels for free.
Yeah. So that was really, for people who sell small ephemera that can just go in a paper envelope, I mean, that's huge because then you can become a top-rated seller because that's part of the issue, you know?
So thank you, Katie.
That was awesome.
And then another thing, and again, we love people like this. So David Hall, he is a listener. Everyone, when eBay started doing these, it's coupons at the beginning of every quarter. Everyone that has a store subscription gets a coupon that you can use to buy eBay branded shipping supplies. And everyone is like, where is it? Because eBay doesn't make it very obvious. So he actually made a website called where'sthecoupon.com. And it's a great site. It's very simple. They call it a serving site because it just does one thing. It tells you when your coupon will come, so at what time on what day of every quarter.
Yep.
And then it gives you a link, and you click it, and it takes you to where its coupon is. So we will put that link on the blog.
It is very cool.
Very smart.
I mean, it's crazy to me that eBay does not send you a message. I've never gotten a message like, you can buy branded supplies, and here's your coupon. If,
we had, like, Trash Shelf... It's medallions. I would send him one.
A medallion.
Yeah. Like a trash shelf medallion.
Both those people who send us those tips get a medallion.
You get the trash shelf of the day medallion.
It's basically like a crumpled up piece of cardboard from the dumpster. Here.
Oh, no.
Well, that's what a trash shelf medallion would look like.
Good, okay.
No, it would be a recycled soccer trophy from 1984.
There you go, yeah.
Because I know I've got like 10 of those in storage.
Yeah. Okay, what our coming week will be like? Well, we know what Orion's week will be like.
Oh my god.
Revising.
At least I have an air conditioner in my office. That's what helps.
And then I am doing now men's shoes. I did a whole week of ladies' shoes, so about 120 pairs, and there's probably about the same number of men's shoes. So in our house, that's where I work now. I work in the house, and Ryan is over in the office.
Yeah.
It's better for everyone's mental health.
I don't have to talk to you or look at you.
We just chat to each other. It's great. So I brought all the men's shoes over and put them in a pile.
It's like a mountain.
And I keep getting worried that someone we know is going to come to our back door and want to talk to me. And I open up the door, and there's just a huge pile.
It looks like an absolute hoarder's den.
Right. I mean,
look, tonight, it's Saturday night, and I was like, oh, we should invite, I was thinking in my head, we should invite so-and-so over because we might, like, make burgers on the grill. And then I'm like, looking at my house, I'm like, there's no way.
Nope.
This looks insane. How would I even, like, she'd just be like, what are you doing? Oh, my God.
Oh.
That's so sad. Okay.
Right. So that's what I'm going to be doing this week. And I will say, can I say one thing?
No. Yes.
We also have now put a flag in the ground. We are now starting to travel on
September 11th.
Yeah, so we've bought tickets and we're starting to go out of town September 11th. Yes. So the flag has been planted, and once September 11th comes, we're going to be gone for 6 weeks.
Oh my God. Yeah. Essentially, yeah.
Basically, it's 2 big trips, one to the West Coast, and then we're flying all the way to Ireland. Yeah, which is great. I mean, I'm so grateful. It's great. We're doing work. We're also taking time to enjoy. But what that means is now we work on eBay full-time between now and September 11th, and then we kind of do the thing we always do where
that handling time down. Okay, so you can always call our voicemail line to leave a question or a comment. The phone number is 540-407-8486. It is a Google Voice number we never pick up, and you have 3 minutes to leave a message.
Hi, this is Mark. I called last week. This is kind of a follow-up. I called about the searches and how some items were missing when I searched. Me and a couple friends of mine did call eBay. And I searched. I said, I'm just searching my friend's store, see seller's items. And only 3 out of 6 were showing up. So they did that with me, and the same thing was happening to the eBay rep. And I said, I also searched this part number on eBay, and there was 7 of them. It says 7 here, but only 5 showed up, or 4, or whatever it was. And so they said, oh, that's strange. We'll make a note of it. I don't see anything here. And then so they did message me the next day and said they'd send it off to technical or whatever, and the next day it was still doing the same thing, but I have since checked, and they fixed whatever glitch it was. So that is a good thing, because I had searched an item that I had, and there was, let's just say 7 on all of eBay, but only 4 were showing up, unless you change this, like newest listed or highest priced, if you change the ranking or whatever, then mine would show up, but mine was not in the 4 that showed up. There was 3 that weren't showing because of this glitch, so it was definitely a concern. But anyway, eBay took care of it, and hope you guys have a great week. Bye.
I am glad that you followed up. Thank you for calling back.
Yeah, no, it's always... I like it because we get a lot of emails and comments where people are like, this thing is horrible, it's so wrong, eBay's horrible. And then we never hear the end, we don't ever hear what happens.
Yeah.
And it's nice to hear that that's an example of like, if you followed up, they admitted that there was a problem, and they actually fixed it. So that's good.
No, that's great to hear. That's weird. I don't know what that glitch could have been. That's freaky.
Hey, Jay and Ryan, this is Justin. I just wanted to give you a call. I'm sure time you guys play this will be all rehashed on the blog. But because of my day job, I don't really get a chance to get on the blog much. But anyway, I just wanted to say that I do pretty much everything off my phone. I really don't use my computer except for printing labels. If you do it enough, I do believe that eBay will learn your default settings for returns and for 30-day returns and like a restocking fee. I actually had a little bit of problem when they switched to 30-day returns to stay a top-rated seller, so I just called into eBay and they worked through it. I believe it was under site preferences, but you could set all that up so it's all default. And I don't seem to have any problem using my phone for everything, from taking the picture to doing the listing to answering questions. I actually, because of my job, I'm not around a lot, so if I have to bulk edit anything, like handling time.
I'm sorry, I think you got cut off, but I think we get the gist.
Yeah, we had mentioned a week or 2 ago that we were doing an experiment of just a listing on our phone.
Right.
Just to see if we could get it like kind of, for some items, do like a really down and dirty
quick listing.
And we were talking about how it still felt we needed to go to the computer,
right? Because
you can't do everything on the phone. And we got several other calls. We also got a lot of blog comments, and we got some emails where people, it seems like a lot of you do a list on it's your phone, but it seems like a lot of it is a combination of like the phone and the computer. Some people said, well, I start a draft on the computer and then I do it on the phone. And then some people are like, well, I start on the phone and then I end on the computer.
Right.
I'm not sure if I heard from a single person that said, I don't have a computer, I only do the phone and it does everything fine.
Yeah.
So I guess that's our point is
I'm sure we will hear from someone now that you said that.
I would love to hear that. You know, like, can you do everything on the phone and get into the fine-grained detail of doing all of your things and it not being a real pain in the butt?
Right,
you know?
exactly.
Like, because our goal is, if you do like 30 things in a couple hours?
Yeah, and have them listed.
It's your phone.
They're selling as you're doing the last listings.
Right. You know, and still be able to, you know, do all the handling time and stuff that top-rated sellers need.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. Thanks for the podcast. Love it. Very informational. And certainly has some great tips. Not listed to all of them, so if you've addressed this before, please forgive me. My name is Tim, and I've been selling for a year and a half or so now. 2 quick questions. Number 1 is about inventory. I think I have about 500 items recurring. Not all of them, as with you, not all of them sell immediately. Some of them are months, and even, you know, a couple of years. And I'm wondering, is there any point in time where you go through and remove listings or don't renew them and say, this is an item that clearly won't sell ever. It's not worth the relisting fee or taking out of the count. If you do that, what's your process? Do you have some sort of formula? Or do you just leave things on perpetually? Second question is about vacation settings and handling time. And you've addressed this. I actually asked a question about this a couple months ago. I know you guys take long vacations sometimes, and I'm actually just finishing a 3-week trip, and I took your advice and didn't just put vacation settings. I also changed my handling time. It appears, as I'm looking at that at the end of these 3 weeks, that eBay will evaluate me not as top-rated plus anymore because my handling time was so long. And I every few days reduced my handling time to kind of match my vacation time. But is there something I'm unaware of there? Do you lose your high seller status because of a longer handling time when you're on vacation, or shouldn't they recognize that you're on vacation and still leave it at that? Thanks for your answers. Look forward to it, to hearing what you have to say. And again, keep on doing what you're doing. It's very helpful for the rest of us. Thanks, bye.
So, thanks for calling. So, there are 2 things to talk about here. Number 1 is, we kind of talked about early in the podcast. We don't really get rid of anything. You know? Once we list it, we feel like we've done all that work. So, why would we dump out because of some arbitrary amount of time?
Yeah.
What we're learning is we just had to kind of update our listings to keep them fresh. But, you know, I've done this math, it's before. If you think of how much it costs to keep an item listed on eBay, it's pennies per month.
Yeah, it's not much. So
you can have an item up for 36 months and it costs you like barely $1.
Yeah, it's really low.
And so if you make a $30 profit on it, why not just keep it up? You know, why wait? I know there are sellers that have different ideas about it. They're like, if I don't sell it in 30 days, I like do it half price. If it doesn't sell in 60 days, I just dump it. You know? And that's, again, it's different things. But I mean, while we were doing this podcast, we sold an item that had been up for probably 4 years. I don't know, that skirt. I mean, it's been up for a long time. I mean, so the stuff sells.
Yeah.
We have lots of storage space. I feel like the people who are wanting to just kind of move their inventory, they're struggling because they have a limited amount of storage.
Yes, that's
true. But if you have endless storage, kind of, you know, why not just keep it? You know, if you do the numbers, it seems to work out.
For us, that's fine. So the other thing is, when you change your handling time when you go on vacation, it's true. Now you do not qualify for top rated.
Okay, so this really confused me, and some commenters had to really school me on this.
Yes.
So there's 2 things. There's top rated plus, and there's top rated.
Right.
It's so crazy that eBay.
It's new.
Okay, so top rated plus means that if you did all the things that they like about top rated,
1 day handling,
but you do 1 day handling, and you get the 20%
discount
on fees.
Right.
but you can still be top rated as long as you ship within your handling time.
Right.
So I can ship it's within a 30-day handling time and still be top rated because I've said what I'm going to do.
Right.
But I'm not top rated plus
with the discount
because it's within 1 day.
That's right.
So that happens to us as well. When we travel and change our handling time, we lose our top rated plus
rating,
little sticker thing.
Yeah.
But we still stay as top rated.
Right. So that shows up as you can buy from top rated sellers.
And this came up when we were, in the old days, we were just putting things on vacation mode.
Right.
And not changing our handling time. So we would lose the top rated plus and the top rated.
Lose everything, yeah.
Because we weren't changing our handling time. And that's why changing the handling time is the solution.
It's the only solution.
That eBay will still, think is okay.
Exactly.
Hey Ryan, Tara Jacobson, and I am so stinking excited I can help you because I've been listening to all your podcasts. So, for your, to make your shipping world amazing, if you're using Google Chrome, you can use what's called Google Users. So what happens is you go in and you set up different user accounts on your Chrome. So for me, I have like my Pterodactyl user account that has all my personal stuff on it. And then I have my Glamorously Vintage that is my Glamorously Vintage Etsy store and all that social media. And then I have my Paperly People, and that's the Paperly People eBay store and my Paperly People Etsy store. And what happens is you can have yourself logged into each of those things. I heard you say you were using Firefox, and I was like, oh, Firefox sucks so bad compared to Chrome on the Mac. So just Google eBay Google users.
Okay, so you are the second person to tell me about Google profiles. I did know about Google profiles. I have one. But what I was unaware of is that you can have two profiles signed in at the same time.
If you use the Chrome browser.
If you use Chrome.
But not Firefox.
Right. Now I will say this. You can have a profile in Firefox, but I am unaware of being able to sign into two different profiles. Like, you can switch profiles and have different themes and stuff, but I don't know if you can be signed in at the same time. I will have to ask some of my friends, because I have two friends that work at Mozilla. And I should just ask them.
And just, or just, it's doing an experiment on Google and just try it out, because...
No, that's very cool. It's smart.
And now,
I should try it.
Why is that important? Like,
okay, so the important thing is I have two different stores, so you can't be signed into two eBay stores at once, except if you're using two different browsers, which is what I usually do.
Two different emails.
Right. Two different browsers, like two different accounts signed in. But now people are saying, look, you can just use Chrome, have two different profiles, and have, one store signed into this profile, one store signed into this, so that you can print easily and you're not having to switch back and forth between browsers, and that's very smart.
So are you starting to kind of feel like an old lady on the internet, like all these
sometimes things? Because I'm like, how did I not know that? I knew about profiles because I have one on both browsers so that I can switch between my laptop and my iMac. And save all the same, bookmarks and stuff, and save passwords, which is very helpful. But yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm just missing things. I'm like, how did I not know that?
Well, people tell us, so thanks for...
Then we try things out, so thanks.
Thanks for telling us.
That's great.
Before we end, I do want to say one thing that has nothing to do with any kind of eBay or scavenging.
Okay.
It's about kind of the internet. So we bought a Google Cardboard... It's viewer.
Like a 3D virtual reality
Some
viewer.
people won't know what I'm talking about at all, but that's okay. That's why I'm, educating people.
Yeah.
Because it's cool. So it's basically, it's virtual, it's reality is coming. They're starting to put out the more expensive, $3,000 headsets.
Like Oculus Rift is like the big one, but the Google Cardboard in quotes is like you use your phone.
When we were at our last conference where we worked, someone had an Oculus
Rift,
and
he
was doing demonstrations. And I tried it. It was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I can see how people are going to get just like, they're not going to move from their couch. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. It is exciting, you know, and I believe instead of just being like, you know, that's just these kids today. I'm like, I think humans are smart and it's creative, and we're going to come up with really cool ways to interact with people, you know, in this new world. And so anyway, we bought a very cheap, like $20 little headset where you put your phone in it,
right?
And there are apps and videos that you can download, and it's not like fully immersive, like, oh, I'm falling off a cliff.
But it's pretty cool.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And so Ryan and I were taking turns, like, it's watching each other, like, wander around a room.
Like, you just look like this weird, like, plugged-in robot.
I'm excited when those things kind of feel like they're at the right stage and they're affordable. Yeah. We're going to get something like that.
We're going to get an Oculus Rift or plug it in.
Whatever. I mean, you know, all these platforms are fighting over who's going to who's going to be the leader or whatever.
But it's fun to play with, like, we're media makers, so it's fun to play with the ideas that people are, like the games, because you're like, there's no hand controller, although you can hook up a hand controller, I think, to Oculus. But what's cool is you can play games by moving and being like, I'm going to shoot that zombie over there by just like staring at it.
But, you know, and you know, and I've been reading articles about this. I mean, again, it's not just for gaming. People are talking about like, you know, people who are infirm or older people that can't get around, being able to explore.
Like one of them was like a beach in Hawaii. Like you could just like hang out and
I
be
think
there.
For me, because I get claustrophobic when I'm on a plane.
Yep.
And I'm thinking like, wow, what if I could have something where I put it on my head and I'm like, I can feel like I'm wandering around
like a forest or something instead of...
What if you could do it where they're connected, where like you can be with people in a virtual space? Right. I mean, it's going to be...
That's like the holodeck. That's seriously the holodeck from Star Trek.
You know, what if like us scavengers could all like kind of
like
be
hang
in a place
out in one place.
I don't know what we would do. We'd be like, hey.
You know what it reminds me of? 10 years ago, that was Second Life.
Yeah.
They call it a game or whatever, but it was like you could hang out with people virtually. Yeah. Well, and like, you know.
And you could be like, I have wings and I'm blue. And
I had like a pink mohawk.
It's my head's a television.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway,
cool.
it's interesting and it's exciting.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm looking forward to growing old because I feel like it's like such the right time because...
Look, you're going to have a self-driving car.
That's right.
You can go to the grocery store, you just order your car, you put the virtual... You don't even know you're in a car because you have your head thing on. You're just like, whatever.
There's going to be so much to do. So it's so good.
Yep.
Anyway, that is it for today. Thank you for being with us. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com where we talk about these links that we've talked about, and you can join the conversation there. And go there, especially it's this week, if you want to read the message that eBay gave us that told us how to keep your listings from being stagnant.
You can call and leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line. Again, the phone number is 540-407-8486.
We post an episode every Monday. It's morning, sometimes Sunday night, but Monday morning definitely. We've kind of put on hold doing these What Sells Its videos on Wednesdays. We've been wanting to focus more on just our business. You know, it's making all this immediate takes time.
Yes.
So that's just on hold. Maybe we'll get back to it.
Yes, we will see.
We're just trying to push through some things. But you can subscribe to us through iTunes and YouTube, so you'll always get the latest episode. And you can listen to our other podcast if you're interested. We did mention it on shampooandbooze.com, and that's where we just talk about our rental. And also, if you want to rent our vacation farmhouse,
you can.
The link is over there. We'll be glad to. It's meet you and show you around.
We'll show you your bedroom and the bathroom and the washer. Okay, we're ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Bye.